Learning at Home, we have opened our readers to page 68. Our target skill for our story this week is to think about the sequence of events. The sequence of events are the order that a story takes place in. 6-8 down at the bottom. You probably need to get to 6-8. So we've already read the storm. Now we're going to think about a new story. And our picture cards give us a little bit of a clue as to what the story might be about. I see in these picture cards that we heard about a music teacher. We heard about a school principal, a librarian, people walking somewhere with a crossing guard there, people working in class. So what do you think this story might be about? Isaiah? Yeah, where do you go for class? Yes, Clara? It might be about school. We're going to think about what happens first, next, and last. If I was going to ask you about our day in school, put your books down flat on the table so I know you're on the right page. If I were to ask you what happens first in school, what would you tell me? Would you tell me we eat lunch?
Yes.
No, we don't eat lunch first. Sometimes I wish we could. But what's the first thing? We come into the classroom, we put our green folders in, so we arrive. Then we maybe write or we read. So we do things in a certain order. That's the sequence of events. First, next, and last. Point to the word first in that graphic organizer. F-I-R-S-T. Point to the word next. Point to the word last. Remember that as we read, yes, Brody? Yes. Remember that as we read, if something doesn't make sense to you, raise your hand and stop and think, I have a question, or go back and figure out what is going on. Yes, Karina?
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, you may. On page 69, I'm going to preview the topic for you. We don't need that right now. I need you on page 69, okay? What do children do at school? They read books. Do you do that at school? Yes. They sing songs. Yes. They paint. We don't really do a lot of singing yet, but we did a little bit outside. They paint and draw. Yes. Children write letters and words.
Yes.
What do you like to do at school? Just think in your head. Previewing the topic like that helps you with the words that you might see in a story. Because you might see words about what I just read to you. So you should be following along on page 69. Right here. As I read, you should be following along. We're going to read Curious George at School to find out what happens at school. This story is not informational text like What is a Pal? This story is not realistic fiction like The Storm, because could anything in this story happen? No. Nobody brings a monkey to school. This is called fantasy. It is a made-up story. We're going to be on page 70, and I'm going to read to you about the author. Is it an emergency, Luke? What do you need?
Like one time when...
Yeah, we're not going to share right now, though, but save that thought because we might be able to share after we read the story. Margaret and H.A. Ray wrote this. Children all over the world love Curious George. The Rays books have been published in Spanish, French, Swedish, Japanese, and many other languages. Since the Rays wrote their first book about the curious little monkey, George has starred in more than 40 books, a TV show, and a movie. So a fantasy is a story that could not happen in real life. Look for events that couldn't happen, Look for animals that act like people. Curious George at school. Now it says the essential question is, why is going to school important? And we wrote that answer. You each told me why you thought going to school was important. Now we're going to turn, and I'm going to read, and you're going to follow along, and then I might be asking you some questions. This is George. You should be pointing to the words as I read them. This is George. He can help a lot. Let's look up at the writing that's up there on that board. Mr. Apple says, welcome to your first day of school. So George is going to school for the first day. George can sing. He is funny. What are some ways the authors make George seem like a person? How is George acting like a person? Evie? Real loud, how is George acting like a person? He's what?
Because he's singing like other persons.
He's singing like a person would sing. Do monkeys really sing? No. What else is he doing that makes him like a person? Clara? He's going to school. Yeah, I don't think monkeys usually go to school. Tori? He's what?
He's teaching.
Yeah, he's standing up on the chair pretending he's teaching. Yes. Why do the children think George is funny? It says he is funny. Joe?
Because he's carrying 4 fruit and three lunch boxes and a robot.
Actually, I think it's cartons of milk stacked up, but it does look like a robot, doesn't it? Yes, that is pretty funny. Then what are the children doing?
Clapping.
But they're also, some of them are doing the same thing as him. I don't think he's setting a very good example. Turn the page. He can see the paints. Look at the picture, the illustration on page 74, and think about what we've read so far. What do you think George is going to do with the paints? What do you think he's going to do? Noel? Make a big mess. You kind of thought about George and the things he does that are not quite right.
I actually have this book.
You do, so you know the story. Jake?
Mix them.
Mix them up. Maybe he's going to try to paint a picture. Let's read the next page. I'll read it to you. You follow along. Mix, mix, mix a bit. Mix, mix, mix a lot. Those pictures are pretty funny. Luke?
This is the part where it gets bad, and then he makes
Yes. Let's turn the page and see what's going to happen. Oh my gosh, it is a big mess. So what is the problem in this story so far? What has happened that is a problem? Brody? He made a big mess, didn't he? George ran. What did he find? What is he looking in that? What does he see in that closet, do you think? Look in that closet. He runs, and what does he find? Isaiah, what does he find? A mop? Do you see a mop in the closet? You think he might find a mop?
Here's the mom.
But we're not on that. But yeah, the custodian has the, like Mr. Benito, that's that gentleman. He has a mop. What does George see in the closet? On the floor. Lindy?
Water.
A bucket of water. Okay, turn the page. He got a mop. He had a big job to do. Oh, the mop is on wheels. The bucket is on wheels. George is now riding on it. Oh, my. No, no. It is a big, big mess. George is sad, sad, sad. I want to compliment Joe. May I compliment you? You can read all this, can't you? but I am so impressed. He is following along as I read. He is doing what good readers do. He follows along as I read. Thank you. Why do you think George is sad? Yes, Jack?
Because he made a mess.
Because he made a mess. Yes. Karina?
He made it huge.
A huge mess. That's another good word for big. Turn the page.
Oh.
Oh, there are no words on this first page here. What's happening though?
They're helping.
They're helping him. Kids help him do a big job. They can help him a lot. He is not sad. What is the important event that happens on pages 80 and 81? What is the important event on those two pages that we just read? Grace, what's the important event that's happening there on those last two pages of the story? They're helping. How kind. What clues in the story and the pictures help you understand what the word help means? Look at these pictures. If you had never seen or heard the word help, how could these pictures let you know what the word help might mean? Isaiah? You what? Okay. Carly?
I mean, helping somebody do something.
Yes, they're working with him. They're doing parts of the job that need to be done. That's what help means. Help means to do a job for someone or with someone. Yes, Thomas? What? Yes, after Isaiah comes back, okay? So later we will write about this and read it on our own. So if you are at home learning, be sure you read this story carefully and think about those questions we asked. Think about the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story.